Okay, in this tutorial we're going to add a block that moves. Okay, so we already have the hit the target game, or level I should say, and now we're going to add a new level. We need to go in and add our objects. So again, we're going to pick, and we can pick different things. I'm going to pick something different. I'm going to pick gold ore, and take one of those and one of the ground. Do I want a zombie? I think I'm going to use a creeper this time. Creeper, and there's my rocket. Okay. Click on add. There they are. So move my ground. Oops, should slide this up a little bit. Okay, move the ground down here. Again, I got to change my width to 640. Click set. Make sure I'm all the way over here. And then drag my object. Okay. Grab my gold ore. And I'm going to set that up right about here. I'll make a few other copies of it. Let's move these, line them up. And I think I want to make just a, well, I don't want to be inside of the other object is the main thing. And then grab my creeper. Creeper can go right here. Looks like he'll be the right height. Oops. And I want to have a little landing pad for him. Oops. Select this, bring it right about here, and put my rocket on top of it. Now, I want this object, I'm going to hold shift and click on that one. Whoops, not that one. Yeah, just those two. And I want to switch these to invincible and also static. Click set. These objects I'm going to leave as is. My creeper, I want to change so that he has just 10 health. Click set. And my rocket is also going to just have 10 health. Click set. Okay. My creeper, again, I'm going to have him be team green, and I'm going to set the triggers up pretty much the same way as I did in the other game. So I'm just going to kind of go through that a little bit quickly, and then we're going to go through how to get these blocks to move. So after a certain amount of time, we'll say 500 milliseconds, we're going to have move and turn this object, rocket, omnidirectional to the mouse. Okay. The creeper, oops, if dead, green objects, all of them, then win. Okay. Rocket, if dead, oops, object, rocket. Then I want to wait 2 seconds and then lose. Because I want if the rocket is destroyed, we lose. If the creeper is destroyed, we win. Click on that. Okay, now I want to move this block, and I want to have this block move back and forth over the top of the creeper. So the first thing I want to do is, at some amount of time, I want to get this trigger started. So at half a second, when the rocket takes off, this block is also going to start to move. I want it to move. I don't want it to move and turn, or just turn. I want it to move, and I want to pick an object, which is this block. I only want it to move side to side. So I'm going to click side to side, and I want it to move to a if it gets to a certain location. So I'm going to click on location, and I want it to go right here. Okay, and then click on let's see. Yeah, so it has also all in one. So if you have multiple objects that are all moving when this thing is moving. So if I, instead of picking object, I pick a team, all means they all have to get to this point. Since they can only move in this direction, they will all have to get to, if we had multiple ones, they would all have to get here. Because we only have one object, it doesn't really matter whether it's all or one. So I'm going to click on one. Even if you had like a bunch of objects, the first one that gets here will then trigger a chain reaction that moves, that will cause the next action to take place. So we'll click OK. So now let's take a look and see what this looks like. So again, save all and go to play game. Click on start. And, oh, I didn't put a name in there. Blank. Oh. Huh, what happened? Something happened. I didn't set up one of the triggers right. Okay, so let's do cancel. We're going to have to look and see. I'm going to click the back arrow. I'll need to take a look at my triggers. And this trigger is going to move. This trigger. Green. Oh. He wasn't team green. So team green. Set. That will fix that problem. Also, I'm going to move this block up just a little bit. So, make sure that, yeah. Because if it starts to push against the other blocks, it's going to turn the blocks, and then we're going to have problems. One way I could do it is to switch these to static, and then they will just move back and forth. All right, so let's do this. We're going to do a save all, and we're going to go and do play game. So this should fix that problem. I got to change the name. So you can see as it rolls off, oh, it got to that spot and then it just crashed. And I can nail that guy. And win. Okay. So we'll go back. One of the things I want to change is I want to change this. We're going to call this dodge that block. Dodge that block. Okay, and then click Save All. So I'm having a little trouble getting these to not be turning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these. I'm going to switch these to static true, click Set, and then they're not going to be affected as they move. They're just going to be a static object that's moving around, and we'll just go that way. Okay, so once this object reaches this point, you saw it reached this point and then it just dropped. And the reason is it got to this point and it triggered the next chain of events. So to get it to move back over to here, what I want to do is I want to click on chain. Oops. So first I need to make sure that the correct trigger is selected. So this is the correct trigger. Oops. If I double click it, it's going to say, do you want to delete it? No, I do not want to delete it. Click on this just once. This is my correct trigger, and I want to do a chain off of that object. So I'm going to click on chain, and then what I want it to do is when it reaches this point, I want it to go back to here. Okay, so we're going to click on Move, Object. I want to pick this object, just back and forth. And the goal is again, when it reaches a certain point, which is going to be right here. So if it gets to this point, then it's going to do the next chain. So if one of them gets there, which is we just have one, and OK. We're going to do save all, and then you can see what this looks like. So click play game, start, dodge that block. So now the block moves over to there and back. Okay. So one last piece to get this full motion loop completed is when this chain happens, I want to create another chain. So create another chain off of this chain. So when it gets to this point, it's going to trigger a chain event. That chain event is going to loop to one of our other triggers. So I'm going to click on this loop back icon, and then it says click on the trigger to loop to. So the trigger I want to loop to is back to the beginning. And the beginning is it's going to, this loop is not going to actually wait half a second. It's going to just do the action that once this condition is met, it will do. So if I click on this and then click OK, it's going to, after a half a second, it's going to move over in this direction until it reaches this point. Once it reaches this point, it's going to trigger the chain, it's going to trigger the next action in the chain. And the next action in the chain is to move back over to here. Once it reaches this point over here, it's going to trigger the next action in the chain, which is loop back to the beginning, which is to move over here. All right. Click Save All. And we're going to try play the game. So click on Start, dodge that block. Now the block should move there and back again. Okay, so now this is going to keep going around, and I need to get my rocket in here and hit my, hit the creeper. Didn't do it. Okay, let's try again. And, oh, got him. Okay, so you can use these techniques to build other levels. You could have blocks moving up and down. You can have them moving in multiple directions. You can do a whole lot of things. Okay, so let's see. I think that that pretty much does it. So that's the end of this tutorial.